It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you people. He meddled in things. He meddled in things.
Where will we go next? It's a phantom from another time.
No one, Mr. Muller.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Ready? Recording?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Daikaiju. To my left,
Jasmine with.
across from us,
Eli Watson.
and today... Wait, what the heck, we're going for it. You're listening to... We do it too many times and I keep, my brain keeps rearranging.
Just to fill everyone in at home, this is the third time we have tried recording the intro for the podcast this week. We are on a third week of Bigfoot Mountain. Clearly, we are going insane.
Yeah, it's been rough. You know what? It's all staying in.
It's
you know
all in.
what?
I'm Jasmine with.
And we're all listening to
Cryptid
Campfire.
Campfire.
That's right. It's the third week of being on Bigfoot Mountain. We've already lost our minds. We got the campsite all set up, the new campfire going. We've talked about some cool things, some weird things, and today we're talking about what?
Bigfoot evidence. More physical, video, audio, any kind of evidence.
And this episode, I'm assuming, is going to be a little all over the place because evidence is far and wide to come by.
This is true. There are a couple different categories that you can sort these things into, however, so we're going to try and stick with that. Photographic and video, auditory sounds, Bigfoot tracks, physical evidence, things like that. Last week we talked about one of the most well-known pieces of evidence regarding the existence of Bigfoot. We discussed the Patterson-Gimlin film from Bluff Creek, the most famous video footage evidence of Bigfoot.
The most famous Bigfoot of all, Patty the Sasquatch.
So today we're going to be going over some other categories of evidence. I think, would it be appropriate to start with other videos and photos as a good transition?
Yeah, I mean, people always say, "Where's all the Bigfoot videos at?" And they're out there.
Where the Bigfoot
They just
Snapchats at.
They don't come up in Google for some reason.
Yeah.
That's why we use Yelp.
Yeah, the problem is that photographs and videos always seem to come out blurry, so they've remained really controversial and inconclusive. Lauren Coleman, who we've mentioned before in the past, who is the founder of the International Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine, he acknowledges that there are a lot of many fake videos, and it's gotten worse with social media.
Yeah.
Because viral hoaxes can rack up millions and millions of views. Coleman believes that there is evidence for Bigfoot's existence, but he finds it hard to focus on photographic material because of the growing number of obvious hoaxes. He has a quote that he actually says, actually I don't know if he said it multiple times, it's just a quote I read in this article. It says, "Technology has ruined the old cryptozoology." That comes from Lauren Coleman. And unfortunately, I have to agree. I mean, we talked all last week about the Patterson-Gimlin footage and the possibilities of it being faked, but there's endless ways to Photoshop and, make homemade videos.
Nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
Back then,
And especially if you're trying to find, if you're like, oh man, you want to go to YouTube, type in Bigfoot videos, and you just got to sort through just a cesspool of how many amateur videos of people in monkey suits run around.
I mean, Eli photoshopped Bigfoot into some of our own promo photos.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't notice?
No.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the campfire photo.
I thought that was real Bigfoot.
No.
It
Podcast over. It's ruined. Bye, everybody.
It is funny, though, because when I was reading about, the validity of photographs and videos, the quote, "Pixort didn't happen," popped into my mind. And I was like, that's not even valid anymore. Like,
Yeah.
pictures mean nothing.
It's true.
It's true.
Everything's fake. We're living in the Matrix. It's time to unplug yourselves.
Are we?
Yes.
In terms of videos, though, I have two videos, one being a slightly more controversial than the other one, and I'll cover that one first.
Okay.
Because
Controversy sells.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
This one came out 1997 in New York, Ulster County, May 23rd. And the people recording this video did not notice the figures in the video until they were watching it. It's basically a bunch of friends at a campfire. They're having fun. Whoa, kind of like this.
Whoa.
And some guy whips out his little. It looks like.
And then the party really started.
This has taken a turn already.
Why did you guys? I was gonna say his little camera, his little digital camera.
Yeah, little digital. His little digi.
Oh my lord.
His little didgeridoo camera.
I wasn't even thinking of it in that terms, but oh well.
We didn't say anything. We just laughed.
Yeah, we
Uh-huh.
giggled.
You filled in the blanks with your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, you dirty boy.
Anyways, it looks like there's figures in the background. Like
Mhm.
there's this hill, and you see it in the background, and it looks like there's this figure walking, and another little figure jumps off of its back into a tree.
Baby
A
Bigfoot?
baby Bigfoot.
Whoa.
Cute.
So, and it looks like it's swinging around in the tree. Definitely don't think it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of how, I mean, I'll show you guys the video. I have it here on my laptop, and
Yeah.
it's just really low res. Like,
Can you throw it up on the Instagram, maybe?
yeah,
Well,
oh
I
yeah,
was-
I'll put it
yeah.
on Instagram as
Can
well.
Can you give us some key terms? Like if people listening wanted to look it up, what would they Google? What would
This
they type
one,
Little digi.
I don't know. No,
Little digi
I
Bigfoot.
found the video through the BFRO, the
in?
Bigfoot
Okay.
Researchers Organization. New York Baby Bigfoot.
New York baby Bigfoot's
the
big
name of
day
the
out.
the name of the file is literally nybaby.avi.
Hey.
So
New York, baby.
people think it's authentic. It's just silhouetted figures.
Yeah.
But like you can see this thing jump off of its back and like swing around in the trees.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's some sort of animal of some sort
Mm-hmm.
that's capable of swinging around in trees and jumping off of things' backs. So not sure exactly what it is.
It's an Ewok.
Could be a Bigfoot, might not be.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about last week, no, the very first week, in the East Coast, there's like skinnier Sasquatch. and
Yeah,
everything
they're a little
there.
more fit.
Yeah,
They're not like the
more
chunky, fat Southern California Bigfoots.
yeah. That's how I like them though.
THICC Bigfoot.
Let's see. And then I got this one as well, and this one's supposed to be the best video evidence of Bigfoot besides the Patterson Gimlin.
Okay.
All right, lay it on us.
It's the Paul Freeman 1994 video. I don't know if you guys.
Nope.
Oh man,
Yeah.
this is good. This is good stuff right here. So it's in the Blue Mountains of Washington, so up north. So this is the slightly chunkier Bigfoots that
Chunky
we're looking at.
Bigfoots.
This guy Paul Freeman, he had been researching Bigfoot for 10 years, looking for Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And,
In all the wrong places.
Probably. And he not only saw one on this day, but he saw two. And he had his camera with him. Again, he was looking for tracks in this area. I wish I had written more of that area down.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the natives. It was the Nez Perce tribe, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a hot spot of sightings of Bigfoot throughout like that week, and Paul Freeman showed up, was like, this is where it's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulled up to the stream, came up on the stream, and found a footprint, but the mud was still wet.
Ooh.
So he was like, oh, this is
Fresh one.
nearby.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's filming all of this while it's happening live, and then he hears popping in the woods, like branches breaking, everything,
Mhm.
and he looks over there, pointing his camera in that direction, and you just see this figure, this Sasquatch-like figure walking through the woods with a similar gait to the one in the big Patterson Gimlin footage.
Oh, okay.
The coloring's roughly the same. It's a little bit farther back in the tree line,
Right.
so it's not as clear, but it definitely looks the same. You can see the cone head,
Oh, okay.
everything. And then he said, apparently it's in the video, I didn't see it. He said that he saw a little one coming right at him.
Oh, okay.
So another baby Bigfoot.
Ooh, and it's attacking them.
Yeah, apparently. I don't.
The babies are the ones that have to protect the parents. The babies are the aggressive ones.
Yeah.
They'd be like little Groot running around.
Yeah.
Alex, did you have any certain specific videos that you were gonna bring up?
I actually didn't get too many videos because everything
Okay.
I found was just people in monkey suits in like a dorm
Yeah.
room running around,
Sure.
slapping people with fish.
What?
Yeah.
Well, so I have a note that kind of will transition us into another category of evidence, being footprints, hairs, and things like that. So Grover Krantz, who's a professor of physical anthropology at Washington State University and a leading authority in hominoid evolution and primate bone structures, he saw the Patterson-Gimlin footage when he was really young, and so that was really convincing to him. But the most convincing part of this piece of evidence were the footprints that were found in the area after the footage was taken. It was the dermal ridges where sweat pores open on palms and soles, depicted in the prints that left him convinced that at least some were authentic, which leads us into the next category: footprints, physical evidence, and things like that.
There's tons of footprints taken.
Yeah.
So many.
Do you have the first one taken? Or
I
the first
don't.
one recorded?
I don't. Do you?
I do. So David Thompson is sometimes credited with the first discovery of Sasquatch footprints. He was an English explorer, geographer, and fur trader in the western parts of what are now Canada and the United States. We know this because he kept a journal, and he had a journal entry from January 7th.
Oh.
Did you get this?
Yeah, we mentioned him briefly in the first episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was running around with Lewis and Clark every so
Oh,
often.
yes, that's
yeah,
right.
he was
Okay,
trying
yeah.
to find the Rockies.
So,
Found
yeah.
Bigfoot instead.
So I read about the journal entry that he wrote. His journal entry was very shorthand, so it's kind of hard to read and understand yourself. But he did elaborate on it years later. He did elaborate on it years later when he wrote a narrative, stating this: "Continuing our journey in the afternoon, we came on the track of a large animal, the snow about 6 inches deep on the ice. I measured it, 4 large toes, each of 4 inches in length, to each a short claw. The ball of the foot sunk 3 inches lower than the toes. The hinder part of the foot did not mark well, the length 14 inches by 8 inches in breadth. Walking from north to south, and having passed about 6 hours. We were in no humor to follow him. The men and Indians would have it to be a young mammoth, and I held it to be the track of a large old grizzly bear, yet the shortness of the nails, the ball of the foot, and its great size was not that of a bear." He also said, "The sight of the track of that large a beast staggered me, and I often thought of it, yet never could bring myself to believe such an animal existed, but thought it might be the track of some monster bear." So yeah, I apologize for not remembering that
that's
you brought him
okay.
up.
I mean, we
'cause
never remember anything
We really
from the past
don't, you
episodes.
guys. It goes in one ear and out. It goes in our brains, out our mouths, and it's gone forever.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I almost forgot. Like, it's like, wait, David Thompson, guy who made Wendy's, right? I'm like, oh, wait, no, let me check my notes. Oh, Lewis and Clark guy.
Yeah. Here's a little note on another cryptozoologist, one of the founding members of it. In terms of footprints and things like that, it's not quite a perfect transition, but it's from John Napier.
Oh,
in his book,
Dr. John Napier, right?
Dr. John Napier, correct.
This clucker.
Yeah, this guy, this clucker, he writes in his book, Bigfoot, the Yeti, and Sasquatch in Myth and Reality from 1973. He said that it's on the basis of hard evidence, science must say Bigfoot does not exist. But he finds it difficult to reject because of the thousands of footprints and hundreds of eyewitness accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very interesting to point because, like you said, the number one way to tell between a fake and a real cast is the dermal ridges.
Mm-hmm.
The fakes just simply don't have.
They don't
them.
have it. They're super smooth or they're
Yeah.
flat. You know, there's it's like if you look at like hands and feet,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like fleshy bits going around. There's a lot of texture, a lot of variations of like pores and stuff. So, you know, like the loggers who like found footprints. It was just a guy with big old cutout feet walking around.
Yeah.
And you look at it, you're like, it looks like a cartoon Bigfoot
Yeah.
was running around. And
Yeah.
then you look at some of the prints and there's like ridges and there's like textures and
In fact, as far as footprint casts go, I think Cliff Barrickman has the largest collection in the world.
he has like what, over 1,000 or something?
Yeah,
I
something
think I
like
watched
that.
a video with him and
Yeah.
he just has feet everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it might be a problem for him a little bit as well.
I have a different man named for the largest archive of Bigfoot
Oh,
foot
really?
podcasts. Yeah, so Jeff Meldrum,
Mm.
anthropology and anatomy professor at Idaho State University, is one of the foremost experts on foot morphology. He says, now, when I first read this quote, I was very confused because it seemed very contradictory and I didn't understand it. I had to read it a couple times and see what his actual point was. So the quote starts saying, "No, I don't believe in Bigfoot." And I was like, what the crap? Then why do you have all these Bigfoot feet?
Yeah.
But he goes
He's
on.
a foot fetish guy.
He goes on to say, belief usually implies a position of faith, a conviction held in the absence of evidence. I, for one, am convinced by the evidence I have studied at length.
Whoa, we got a big baller over
Oh,
here.
wow. I'm not going to lie. I thought I had him on the first corner, but then we turned him around.
Also, I wanted to correct myself. Earlier I said something about the guy who was talking about the dermal ridges, Grover Krantz. He was not young when he saw the video of Patterson Gimlin. I think he was an adult. It was
He's a kid at heart.
Yeah, it was Jeff Meldrum, the guy I
Jeff
just
Meldrum,
mentioned, who was 11 when he first saw the Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah, he's he shows up to a lot of Bigfoot conferences as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be there in August. I'm not sure.
Oh, hey.
So it would be dope to meet him.
Yeah. I was going to say real quick about Dr. Napier, because you said what was about his quote about feet, right? He was like...
Well, he just says
skeptic.
he finds it difficult to reject Bigfoot because of the thousands of footprints and the eyewitness accounts.
Because he came out and he thought that the Patterson Gimlin film was fake.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the first people who I think saw it.
Yeah.
But because they got it developed, they were trying to get people to see it. He watched it for like 4 days straight and was like, he was like, oh, I think it's fake. But he was obsessed with Bigfoot's butt in that video.
Why? Because it's so big.
Yeah, he was just like, you know what? Based on evolution, based on the way people carry themselves, this has to be the buttocks is of human nature.
Yeah.
So he's obsessed with the butt. So
yeah.
Dr. John Napier, butt man first.
Speaking of butts,
and Bigfoot got a big one.
We actually have a cast of a Bigfoot butt.
Yeah?
Yeah. It sounds like completely incredible and amazing.
Absurd.
It does.
We got it mounted on the wall with a nice plaque.
Yeah.
We personally don't have a cast of a Bigfoot butt.
But if you
Just
have
for
one, please
clarification.
send it to Cryptid Campfire.
We accept
the
gifts.
P.O. box
We need
on
to get one of
Bigfoot
those.
Mountain.
A P.O. box?
We should
Yeah.
get a P.O. box.
Why?
That way we can get all kinds of weird stuff from the weirdos out there.
That would be kind of fun, I guess. Yeah, so the Bigfoot Butt Cast. Also known as the Skookum Cast.
Bigfoot got a big skookum.
What in the world?
Going to pee my pants.
Well, I brought up the name Skookum in the first episode.
I remember that, yeah.
Right, so this actual cast was taken in Skookum Meadows.
Okay.
So it was in the September of the year 2000, and it was BFRO led this expedition to try to collect evidence. The expedition was actually led by BFRO founder Matt Moneymaker.
Was that his name?
Yeah, Matt Moneymaker.
Matt Moneymaker.
He's also in Finding Bigfoot, so the show.
So his name is Mr. Moneymaker?
Yeah, that's like his actual legal name is Moneymaker.
Wow.
So, and apparently he's from LA, so.
And is he rich?
I don't.
Does he live up to the name?
I don't know.
I hope so.
He's a moneymaker, dude.
He's in thousands of dollars of debt.
So what they did, they created like traps, and I feel like more people should try this.
They put a big chair out that said for Bigfoot only.
Yeah.
Reserved for Bigfoot.
So
Reserved for Bigfoot.
They created like this mud trap and set fruit in it.
Okay.
Like in the middle of it, so they could like whatever was coming for the fruit would have to go through the mud.
Okay.
So they're hoping to get footprints. They brought cameras, like thermal cameras, night vision cameras, sound equipment. They were broadcasting sounds of other Sasquatches, and we're actually getting responses back.
Whoa.
Are you about to tell us that Bigfoot took a squat and snacked on some fruit, and then they casted The butt print.
That's exactly what I'm
Oh
gonna tell
my
you.
gosh!
So, they were there for a couple of days. It was September 16th when they set everything up.
Okay.
And they came back September 22nd, which is also Bilbo Baggins' birthday.
Hey, shout out.
And they found just a butt print of a squatch.
I love this so much.
It says it took 325 pounds of casting material to get it all.
What?
Wow,
But they got more than just the butt. They got the heels,
Okay.
basically the entire legs, an arm, what they think is like a forearm, the thighs.
So was
Hopefully.
he like?
They even got his testicles.
Oh.
Okay, so my question now is: was he sitting cross-legged? Was he doing some yoga? Was he,
No, he was
laying
kinda-
down in that classic Jeff Goldblum pose?
Closer
Bigfoot
to the-
was like drawing me like one of your French girls.
He was basically, he had kind of his legs like to one side and was
Okay.
like stretching over and reaching.
So Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
More Jeff
Jurassic Park.
Goldblum,
And
yeah.
he was free
So they
balling.
think he was kind of like, because it's not like a full-on butt print. It's like more like he's like on
Leaning
his
to the
side.
side.
Yeah.
That's why they have part of his arm
Okay.
Interesting.
is there.
That's
so,
so cool.
So he's like lounging about eating
Yeah.
this fruit.
yeah.
That's so interesting.
Letting it all
I've
hang
never
out.
heard of this. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Apparently it was televised as well.
Whoa, which
Yeah.
crazy too. So I guess they they spent how much pounds?
325 pounds.
Of casting material
To-
to get the butt print. I guess they were carrying it.
Yeah.
Someone dropped it, and there's a big crack down the
Oh,
middle.
God.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think that happened.
But oh man, that's wild. Old Skookum.
Yeah, Skookum Meadows,
I'm gonna
man.
I
name
just-
my next dog that.
But like,
Skookum, yeah.
Skookum. Come here, Skookum.
I just think
Yeah, next time we have someone, calling us out, saying Bigfoot's not real, and we lay them down, say, listen, nerd, don't care what you got to say. Someone says, why'd you do that? Had to skook him to it.
I just think, considering how successful this one was, people should try it again.
Yeah.
Like, do the exact same thing,
I mean, who would have thought if you just leave fruit out, a Bigfoot will come and eat it?
right?
That's
Everyone's just walking
Really
around
cool.
with cameras trying to get Bigfoot. Just throw fruit on the ground.
yeah.
He'll come.
Everyone likes free food.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. As far as any other cast, did you have anything else?
No, that's about all I gathered for that.
Just mostly
Well,
feet, some
I
kiss the butt.
I have another one that's also slightly pretty crazy.
Okay,
Alright.
go for
It's
it.
called the Nutella jar cast.
Oh,
now I want
no.
Nutella.
Yeah, so it's this one's actually pretty recent, 2017.
Okay.
It happened in July in Northern Kentucky, and this guy, Tom Shea of the Northern Kentucky Bigfoot Research Group, and Steve Cornell, they were working on this like prototype to try to capture Bigfoot hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like giant PVC pipes with sandpaper inside and fruit in the middle.
Okay.
Or well, they put Nutella in there, actually sealed and everything, like brand new Nutella. Just put it in there, and they left it there for about a month. And when they got back, they found the PVC pipe was in a completely different tree. They found the Nutella cap on the ground, and they found the jar uphill a little bit.
Yeah.
And when they saw what they thought was like fingerprints inside, it had been opened, the seal had been torn off, and it looked like there's some like fingerprints inside
Mm-hmm.
that had like scooped out Nutella. So they put it in the cooler, and they like drove back to the house and casted it. And so it looks like they got 3 fingers, possibly 2.
Mm-hmm.
One dipped twice. They're not really sure. It's hard to
Bigfoot
tell.
double dips.
Yeah, but that's what they got. I think
That's wild.
So it's fingerprints, not fingerprints, but like fingers.
Fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's the kind of stuff that I like to hear about because everyone knows about footprints. Everyone knows
Yeah.
that that's all out there. Then Eli shows up with, we got butts and we got fingers,
We
and I'm
got
like,
butts,
all
we got
right.
butts, and we hope what are fingers in this Nutella jar.
It's pretty. Oh God.
But I mean, I guess Bigfoot likes Nutella, so if you're trying to find Bigfoot, just throw some Nutella and fruit
Yeah.
on the ground.
That's
Yeah.
a good combo for
Like,
me. Heck, if you
yeah.
want to catch me,
Yeah,
throw me
if
some
you want to
fruit and
catch a
Nutella.
jasmine.
Um.
Throw a couple waffles in there too. You never know.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm not done with videos yet. I still have more videos.
What you got?
Do we have time for that? Because we still have to. I kind of want to talk about the auditory sounds and things like that.
Sure.
Got
How
to talk
far-
about Bigfoot's mixtape.
Where are we at on time right now?
24 minutes.
I think we have time if you want
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
It's just
give
one video,
Okay.
and then I have like a bunch of pictures.
Okay, go
But
for it.
we could go in the pictures last, I guess.
Okay, go for your video.
Just this one's called the Marble Mountains video. This one's pretty controversial. What is it? So, it's like this group of 18 people. They're up. Marble Mountains is in California, Northern California.
Okay.
Really close to Bluff Creek, where the Patterson-Gimlin footage was actually shot.
Ooh.
It's right in the same region, and they see they come across this structure, like because Bigfoot makes structures supposedly. We're not really sure.
Yeah. He's not an animal. He
no.
makes a house for himself.
Right. But what's interesting about the structure, what makes them think it's not man-made, is that like some of the larger branches have been broken off instead of cut.
Oh.
So like you need quite a bit of strength to break branches.
Yeah.
It's not really like tied together either. It's just kind of put together. And someone just yells, "Oh, there he is! There he is!" And they look up on this mountain ridge, and they film it for about 3 minutes. Just this figure walking down the mountain, but it's up against the sky, so he's kind of like silhouetted.
Okay.
So some people think he's a backpacker.
Okay.
Because he does kind of have a hunch on his back. It could be a Sasquatch hunch. I looked at the video multiple times, trying to like figure out for myself. I honestly have no idea where I stand on it.
Right.
Okay.
Because for me, it could go either way. Because his knees never bend as well, but he is walking downhill.
Yeah.
So it easily could be a human, but it also looks very tall. I think the BFRO actually went out there and did a test.
The compare and contrast.
And it looks like that it's taller than a person.
Okay.
But it's still under 7 feet. So it could just be a really tall person. But guess we'll never know.
Yeah. The world will never know.
As far as auditory sounds go.
Yeah, so we briefly mentioned the Sierra sounds in one of our previous episodes, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about those because it is one of the most compelling auditory pieces of evidence. So there are, of course, a bunch of theories as to what these sounds could be besides being a Sasquatch. Many people claim them to be like misidentified known animals or just straight up
yodelers.
hoaxes.
Yeah. It could just be a pack of samurais hanging out in Northern California.
I did listen to what you were talking about though, the samurai chatter. It really does sound like samurais.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not maybe the best term to use, but it does sound like that.
It's cool because samurais are cool. So
Yeah.
like, any you say samurai chatter, everyone's like, what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So I actually had never listened to them prior to researching for this podcast. So there's a chance that anybody listening to us right now might not have heard these either. So
What are they called?
So they're called the Sierra Sounds. These come from a recording that was taken in the Sierra Nevada mountains in 1971 by journalist Al Berry and Ron Moorhead. The story behind that, Ron Moorhead was from California, and one of his friends who we never find a name for, we don't know who this friend was.
Wait, isn't it Al?
No, Al is a journalist.
Al shows up later.
Al shows up later. Yeah.
Okay.
So this friend tells Ron that he had been on a hunting trip in the mountains, which they go across California and Nevada. Him and his buddies had apparently encountered a huge, hairy, ape-like beast that approached them and made screeches and howls and hoots and hollers and all that. So this guy convinced Ron Moorhead to go back to the site with him to search for physical evidence. So they took with them journalist Alan Berry,
Middle name Franken,
who I guess he was just in it for the interesting story. Like, I don't know if you would consider him a skeptic or where he was standing at that point.
Was he like a Bob Gimlin? Just like
Probably.
Yeah, from what I can tell, because I was trying to look it up, and Ron Moorhead is the one who gives all the info about what happened.
Yeah.
He's like, so just me and my good buddy Al Berry from the Sacramento Bee. I brought him along because you can't have a good time without the berry there.
Right. So they actually did not find anything of interest on their first trip out there, but they did a follow-up excursion. So Moorhead and Barry decided to plant microphones in the bushes and trees, and after several nights of nothing, they were finally able to make some contact with the creatures. So during these encounters, they also claimed that the Sasquatch Bigfoots would come towards their camp, but every time they tried to go out of their tent and look at them, that they would like retreat back into the forest or whatever. So they capture these sounds, which sound very weird.
Yeah.
Sounds like samurai people, like they're watching an Akira Kurosawa film in the middle of the forest.
They were like, all right, you got the mic outside? Okay, cool. Let's put Yojimbo on. And
Yeah.
the mic's by the TV.
I would suggest, I don't think legally we could play the
No.
sounds right now.
I could probably put them on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just sounds like a bunch of like noises and
Yeah.
then howl, and like I think the guys are at one point start howling outside,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're just,
You can find them on YouTube.
Yeah,
actually.
you can easily Google this information,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube it to actually listen to the sounds. The guys do try to communicate back, so you will hear like humans making the noises as well, or trying to mimic as best
But
they can.
it's definitely very clear though, which
like,
is which.
yeah.
But so they recorded these sounds, which you can listen to online, and the next day they found giant footprints in the snow outside. And then they made several trips back over the next year to take further recordings and collect other plaster casts of the footprints. But there's been multiple like linguists and different like scientists that have listened to these recordings, and it's very interesting to me because the opinions from these professionals vary.
It does, yeah.
So we've got retired U.S. Navy linguist R. Scott Nelson,
Oh yeah.
who had over 30 years of experience as both a linguist and code breaker, and he speaks 4 languages. He came to the conclusion that the creatures caught on tape were utilizing an actual unknown language with its own grammar and syntax. So, like, it's not just somebody out in the woods making random hoots and hollers. It's like there's structure to it. Dr. Arlen Curlin at the University of Wyoming concluded that the sounds seemed to come from something with a larger lung capacity and vocal range than a human.
Yeah. There's a Wyoming, right? That's what you
Yes,
said? Yeah.
Wyoming. So there's like, she said, I actually don't know if this is a she or not. Dr. R. Lynn Curlin, he or she, I'm not sure, said that the creatures performed verbal acrobatics, thunderous howls, and high-pitched squeals and whistles that no human being would possibly be able to orally duplicate. And you'll hear in the recordings the guys try to duplicate, but obviously it's not going to sound the same. And there was no evidence at all that the tape had been sped up, slowed down, or altered in any way.
Yeah.
And then the last opinion that I have comes from another professional, Karen Stolznow of the Scientific American, states that the vocalizations are an amateur impression of how a proto-language might sound if it evolved from non-human primates. This Bigfoot is likely human, and the Sierra Sounds is a combination of hoax and misidentification, like all the other evidence for Bigfoot. So clearly not a believer.
Who
Yeah.
was that?
Karen Stolznow.
Yeah.
Another Karen coming up causing problems.
Yeah, is she here to talk to the manager?
Yeah.
Come
I'd like to
on
talk to your
now.
manager about the Bigfoot sounds.
Now.
Settle down, Karen.
Quick note on the Sierra Sounds.
Yeah.
The location. With most hoaxes, people are reluctant to share the location. Ron Moorhead seems very open.
Yeah.
He actually invited people to go to that exact location, but it actually burned down last year
Oh.
in the fires.
Interesting, because I have in my notes that he's always remained secretive about the exact location. He gives
Really?
he gives general, like,
Huh.
it was in this area,
Mm-hmm.
but
Huh.
my notes might also be outdated.
I don't know.
If you're saying it recently burned down
It
or
will-
caught fire, then my notes might be outdated, and I didn't find the most recent information about the location. So
Yeah.
that's a
Well,
possibility.
the recordings were here in California as well. on this side of the mountains, you know.
Yeah.
And apparently, I mean, there was that huge fire last year, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
Yeah.
and it burned the whole area. And so I think where he recorded those sounds actually just doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At least not in the sense that it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
back in the
the
70s.
land
It's still
exists,
there.
but
Yeah.
It just stopped
it
existing.
just
Yeah.
disappeared
It's
into
just,
thin air.
It's just a black void. It's the nothingness. It's coming to take us.
That's all I have. I
Is
mean,
it? You don't have
Yeah.
any other sounds?
no.
How many Sierra sounds did you see?
Did I see?
Yeah.
Well,
Dude, man, I can see sounds.
I can like see the wind.
there's actually another fairly well-known recording of an alleged Sasquatch. I don't know how to pronounce this name. It's spelled very easily, but I don't know if it's a hard A or a soft A. It's a Klamath. Klamath.
Oh,
Klamath.
Klamath?
Klamath.
That's how I always said
You
it.
have old math, new math, and
Klamath.
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 The Klamath Screams. So September of 1992, two boys were out exploring Klamath, California, around 11:30 in the morning. They heard something large crash through the brush.
Woo.
They also stated that they were revolted by a pungent stench that smelled like rotted chicken.
Uh-oh.
And they also saw an enormous figure covered with dark reddish-brown hair, which seemed to be holding a branch that it was violently shaking for some reason.
You kid, get off my lawn.
Its face was described as having a mix of human and ape features, and they would call it the Big Hairy Man. So that was their first encounter. So then the father of one of the boys later investigated the site, and he found 34 gigantic footprints measuring 16.5 inches long and 8.5 inches wide, which he took casts of. He also saw something large and hairy with deep-set eyes and long, thick hair, the color of burnt orange, staring at him from the bushes. So after his sightings, regular reports of howls, shrieks, and screams by something unknown would happen between 9 and 10 p.m. And so it was claimed that there were more than two creatures because the screams would seemingly gather a response from another on a different hilltop. So it was like a back and forth. So then in 1993, a recording was finally made of those sounds.
Wild.
And you can find
Ooh.
those on the internet as well.
Oh, for real.
Dang, that's crazy.
I remember I saw the name of those sounds, and I don't know what I was researching or what I was doing at the time. I was just like, I don't need to know that.
Hard pass.
No, that makes sense though. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. We have to make choices about what we want to talk about on this
sure.
podcast because there's so much that can be talked about. There's so much that's relevant, irrelevant. Like it's all our own best judgment about what we want to bring up. So
Yeah.
We honestly could probably do like a whole episode on just audio.
yeah,
Dude, there's just so much of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any more audio. Do
So
you?
we got some audio, we got some videos, you got some photos.
Yeah, why
I
don't you
have
talk about your photos?
Okay. All right.
Because I don't have anything for photos.
Okay. And I'll put all these photos up on the Instagram,
Yes, sir.
and
And I'll throw them up on the Twitter.
yes, you will. Follow us on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Let's see. What do we got
At
here?
Cryptid Campfire.
Yeah.
We have the Jacobs photos.
Jacob's photos.
And this is Pennsylvania, 2007, September 16th, which is ironically exactly 7 years after when they set up the mud trap for the Skookum cast.
Oh,
So,
that big butt Sasquatch at it again.
so this is taken on a Bushnell trail cam with infrared. And so what's interesting about these photos, I think, is
What are they called again? I'm gonna pull them up.
the Jacobs photos, 2007. What's interesting about these photos is that they released 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The first one with bears, with black bears in it.
Okay.
And it's just bears, so you can get a reference that this is not a bear, whatever
Okay.
it is. And they have the timestamps included in the corner and everything.
Okay.
So about half an hour later,
I did see this. Yes.
they
Oh, yeah.
they have what appears to be some sort of primate
Mm-hmm.
bending over and picking something up.
Big old monkey.
And then the next one I think is like 30 seconds later,
Mm-hmm.
and it's him just completely bent, like,
He's twerking.
yeah, kind of.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And
He's like, hey, I got my butt ready for more prints. Where you guys at?
It's definitely interesting to look at.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
weird looking.
And that's the bears for reference.
Oh, they're
But,
cute.
I mean, like I said, this is East Coast. We got skinnier Sasquatches over there.
They ain't eating the GMO foods out here, so they ain't getting big enough.
Yeah. They think it's another young one,
Mhm.
juvenile Sasquatch under 5 feet tall.
Okay.
Which apparently there's been reports of young Sasquatches climbing trees
Mhm.
and walking around on all fours.
Oh.
But which isn't completely unheard of because gorillas do the same thing.
Yeah.
When they're real little, they climb trees all the time, and as they
Mhm.
get older, they just don't.
They're like, oh, I'm too big. I don't want
Yeah.
to climb trees no more. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
work. I just want to sit here, eat this fruit in the mud. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
Exactly. So, I think that's interesting. But I mean, whatever it is in the photo, I obviously think it's a Sasquatch, but you can't say that it's a bear because
Yeah.
it's clearly not a bear.
Yeah, the argument sometimes is that it's a sick bear, like a bear
Yeah.
with mange.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, like, you compare the picture of the bear that was caught on the same camera and the body shape doesn't really match.
Yeah.
Not even close. Let's see what else. Oh, I have the Silver Star Mountain photos from 2005.
Oh, you're jumping ahead.
November 17th, 2005. This guy, and they covered him on Finding Bigfoot, which is
Okay.
how I found out about it. And this guy, he likes to hike the mountains over there. I think this is in Washington,
Okay.
like in the border between Oregon and Washington. So he's hiking around up there. He says he got this feeling of being watched,
Mm-hmm.
and when he turned, he saw on this summit this thing just watching him. So he pulls out his camera,
Whoa.
takes a picture of it. I think he got 2 or 3. I think they showed 3 on Finding Bigfoot, but I was only able to find 2 online.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sitting there, and then it gets up and starts going down the mountain.
Yeah.
And they actually went to that location, to the exact location, and replicated the photos with Bobo there.
Yeah.
And Bobo's a big dude. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
Definitely small Sasquatch range.
Yeah.
And he went over there with what people obviously thought it was a backpacker on with a hat,
Yeah.
with a hood on. And so they had him put his backpack on, put his hood on. Does not look anything remotely same as
Yeah.
to what's in that image. He's roughly the same size,
Mm-hmm.
so it's probably a smaller Squatch, but the head shape doesn't line up.
Right.
Um,
It's pretty bulky in the pictures too.
Yeah.
Looks like King Kong over there.
yeah, it just doesn't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that's pretty authentic.
Yeah. It's good looking photos too.
Yeah, they're really good.
Pretty nature, man.
Yeah, they took the recreation photos with the same camera as well.
Yeah.
So that's just more authentic. And then I have one more photo. It's called the Melissa Hovey photo circa 2008.
Okay.
And Melissa Hovey is not the person who took the photo, but she released it
Oh,
because the person wanted to remain anonymous.
Anonymous.
And this is pretty controversial. I'm not sure why I stand on it. I think it's kind of a hoax.
Is that the one you have, Jess?
It might be.
Is it the
this
back head?
it?
Yeah, it's just taken. It's supposedly from a trail cam taken from right behind a Bigfoot.
Oh, I was gonna say, what was the lady's name?
Melissa.
Melissa Hovey. She released the
Oh,
photo.
I was gonna say they call it because that's what she looks like.
Oh no. So 2 special effects artists looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
They both said it was fake.
Okay.
One said because it was cropped, because the lady didn't want to remain anonymous. Apparently, the photo included something that would reveal the location. So I don't know, like a street.
It had a little mailbox like right next to
Yeah,
him.
I don't know.
119
it's-
Mulberry Avenue.
And it's supposedly taken with a trail cam, so there should be a timestamp in the
Yeah.
bottom, like it was in the Jacobs photos.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not there, so that's pretty suspicious. And then the second one said that the hairs look fake
Mm-hmm.
in terms they're so spread out and they're so like uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing, I don't know, it just doesn't look quite
Yeah.
squatchy.
Yeah.
So again, there's really no way to be sure. But
Yeah.
I'm falling on the side that it's not legit.
I like that one.
What
It's
is
just a big photo.
Yeah.
Did you get the my favorite Bigfoot photo from Atlanta, Georgia?
Which one?
It's from 2008. Two Georgia people hiking through the woods. They found the body of a Bigfoot, and they done threw it in a cooler,
Aha.
and that's the Bigfoot.
Let me see this.
That's disgusting.
It's a dead Bigfoot in a cooler.
That's clearly a costume.
That's my favorite Bigfoot photo because it's just a gorilla outfit with like someone threw like some cold cuts in there with it.
I remember when my dad told me that had happened. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, Bigfoot.
Whoa.
So can I pose a question to you guys?
Nah.
Yeah. What?
No.
No.
Nah, I'm
we
not
reached-
open.
we
Not
reached-
open for questions at
No
this
questions.
time.
No
please.
comment.
I talked to my publicist. My people will call your people.
Yeah.
It's an interesting balance for people who believe in Bigfoot to want to find evidence and to
Mhm.
want to find Bigfoot, but then to also not want to find Bigfoot. Because if you think about it, if we found Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
if evidence was die hard, no way to deny it,
Mm-hmm.
you know that Bigfoot would be endangered.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that people would just try to capture and kill
Mhm.
and study and put under a microscope, and it would just be a pain in the butt, as Christopher Farnsworth from the New York Post writes. His quote says, "In the real world, Bigfoot would become one more pain in the butt endangered species for loggers and environmentalists to argue over, or just another animal kept in some vaguely depressing exhibit in a zoo. Bigfoot is probably better off in the realm of folklore."
Mm.
Eli, how do you feel about that?
I feel like it's probably true.
Oh.
'Cause I feel like, if I'm being 100% honest, it's kind of a weird reasoning, but I think as soon as Bigfoot is proved to be true, whenever that happens, if it happens,
Mhm.
You're just not going to care anymore?
well, no, it's not that. It's just I feel like people are going to start running into him a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that always happens.
Yeah, it's because, sorry. It's because when you're more aware of something, when you're
Mhm.
more tuned into it, then you start to recognize it more.
Mhm.
It's not that it's appearing more, it's that
Mhm.
you're recognizing it and noticing it
It's,
more.
it's like when you realize, someone comes in, asks for the manager, their name's Karen. You're like, man, that lady was she was a pain in the butt, as the New York Times reports. That
Yeah.
reporter said. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh man, a lot of Karens tend to be pains in the butts.
It's true, but
It's true. It's all true.
It's true. I just feel like as soon as that happens, like Bigfoot's gonna start getting hunted. He's gonna
Mhm.
start getting killed.
He's gonna start asking for royalty from
Yeah.
Jack Link's beef jerky.
You know, because as we've witnessed through the media and everything, Bigfoot's identity is always changing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's to say that he didn't attack this group of women out there, and now we need to kill them all? You know, it's like, I don't know. I just feel I want it to be proved to be true,
Mm-hmm.
so everyone can just go suck it. But at the same time, I don't want it to happen because I
You want him
don't.
to be left alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I don't know, gorillas were once considered myths as well,
Mhm.
and now we got them all over the place.
Yeah, them gorillas. I was gonna say, I think, are we kind of closing down
I
this
think we're
episode?
closing
We
down.
kind of
Yeah.
talked about the evidence. One of the biggest questions out there: where are the bones? Where are the bones at?
We'll
Done.
get into that
Well-
in a future episode, I think.
because I have an explanation.
Yeah.
This comes from YouTube. I was watching my videos on YouTube, looking through the comments, and the top one of the comments was, "Yo, why no Bigfoot bones found? Explain that, dummies." And the comment under it was like, "Hey, I'll have you know Bigfoot is an interdimensional being.
Mm-hmm.
When he dies, the bones go back to the dimension that they from." And that's the direct quote.
What?
Yeah, so
That is a theory, and we will talk about
we'll
that.
talk about that later.
in
but
a
that's-
later
could I just
episode.
that's
add
a
one
breadcrumb.
more thing
One
about
more
the
breadcrumb?
bones?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more realistic than dimensional window fallers. I think.
Excuse you.
I just think it's the same reason you don't go in the woods and see a bunch of deer bones littering the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just the forest is made to like decompose things.
Mhm.
And
Take care of itself.
Like a body in the woods does not last very long.
Mm-hmm.
Like animals eat it, fungus gets at it,
Mm-hmm.
bacteria eats it. dirt covers it up. I mean, and plus these things are semi-intelligent. I mean, it looks like they have a language. Who's to say that they don't have burial rituals?
Mhm.
I mean, even though they don't use tools, like
You can still dig a hole with your bare hands.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
All right,
I
cool.
think that was a good foray into kind of Bigfoot evidence, what we have, what you're kind of dealing with.
Yeah. Before we completely close it out, we did get contacted by a guy named Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike.
We just wanted to give him a little shout out. His name is Mike Famelant. He's beginning the 4th season of his YouTube show, In the Shadow of the Big Red Eye, and he's looking to expand his audience. Just a little bit about him real quick. East Coast-based reality series about the search for Sasquatch. All filming and editing takes place in-house with them. He told us that the aim of the show is to show what Bigfooting is all about and inspire people to spend time together in nature. You can find him both on Facebook and YouTube. I watched their video highlighting their 5 best pieces of evidence, which they actually just posted a couple months ago, back in May of this year. So if you're looking for a new source of Bigfoot-related information, you want to learn about some other investigations and expeditions that are happening, go ahead and check him out. Shout out to you, Mike, for listening to our podcast. Hopefully you find some good evidence in the future.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I hope you give us a shout out on your YouTube channel. Good sir.
I mean,
Don't feel obligated to, but I mean, you can if you want.
Don't feel obligated, but you have to. Or
Okay.
we'll find you.
I just want to say the number one thing I like about Mike is that he seems to be level-headed. He's not a crazy person. So
Like us.
yeah, he's not crazy like me. So
Yeah. So that's a plus.
that's just if you're looking for some Bigfoot videos with some level-headed people talking about it, yeah, I would say go check him out.
But
Cool.
yeah, make sure you like us on Facebook.
Whoa.
Follow us on the Instagram at cryptidcampfire.com. We got a Twitter going too.
What did you
follow
just
us
say?
at Cryptid Campfire, not
Yeah.
at cryptidcampfire.com. That doesn't exist
Oh,
Yet.
well,
yet.
not yet.
Maybe.
Hey, we're working on a cat's out of the bag. Heyo.
Heyo.
I mean, hey, it's like we've been on Bigfoot Mountain for a while. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We've
It's-
only been here for 3 weeks.
It's a long time. How much longer do we have?
5
more.
weeks.
Oh dear God.
Thank you for listening, guys. We went over some fun evidence today. We've got a lot more ahead over the next 5 weeks.
Oh dear.
I will make this quick note. I think in the previous episodes, I laid out the plan for how we're
Think you
traveling
did.
this.
Mhm.
And now we're.
Disregard that.
That plan's thrown out the window.
She read
Not
the map
exactly.
upside down.
I did. I was looking at the map backwards. All of the subjects are still going to be the same, but we have rearranged the order in which
Keep
they're
you
going
guys
to be.
guessing a little bit.
Yeah, we've rearranged the order in which the episodes are going to be released to hopefully have a little bit of a more of a flow that makes sense. But all the content's going to stay the same. So we look forward to sharing that information with you over the next few weeks.
Sounds
Well,
pretty good.
Let's tell them what we're doing next week, which is just a little bit of a fun episode. Sheep squatch, bat squatch.
Oh, various
other
types of
squatches?
squatch.
Yeah, next week
What?
we're going to be diving into some of the different breeds
The,
of.
the distant
Bigfoot.
cousins of the Sasquatch, if you will.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdos with the Squatch name attached, so we're gonna
Yeah.
dig into it.
I'm gonna
so it'll
go.
be fun.
I'm gonna go deep into the information about the Ohio grassman, which my dad actually claims to have seen at one
Whoa.
point. So yeah, we're actually gonna have a first-hand experience to talk about. You know, you always asking me how many melon heads I saw
Yeah.
or whatever, but
And
I'll
now
be
how
talking to my
many
dad.
grassmen have
how
you
many
seen?
how many grassman butt prints you got?
We'll see.
I guess we'll start doing the handles,
The
the
outro.
social media, the outros. I'm Alex Daikaiju. You can find me at Instagram and Twitter at Alex Daikaiju. I also run the Twitter for the Cryptid Campfire, so you can follow that. I'll be posting memes, myths, stories, all that fun stuff. What about yourself?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. Name is the same on both platforms. It's at Jasmine Maywith, JASMINEMAEWITH.
Mm-hmm.
And
What about you, fella?
Oh, well, you
Yeah,
can
who the hell are you?
I'm Eli, and you can find me at probably the Instagram, the official at Cryptid Campfire on Instagram. I run it. I respond to the DMs,
Especially about Fortnite.
especially about Fortnite. Send me all your Fortnite DMs and screenshots. I
Yeah.
want to watch it all.
Tell us about the
Twitch
24-hour.
Twitch links in the comment, please. Just kidding. I don't want to see it.
More of an Apex Legends kind of guy.
No, stop. You're spreading these lies. Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me. And also feel free to reach out to us at our email.
Yeah.
cryptidcampfirepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, send us any stories, anything you want to hear us talk about, or whatever. We check email, so we still do that.
All right, we gotta end this because it's getting hot in this room and I need some fresh air,
It's
guys.
105 degrees on Bigfoot Mountain in Southern California. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.